All right, y'all, I'm about to drop some game on y'all so deep, boy. Some of these fertilizing companies are not going to like this. This is something that you need to know. After you see this video, you will have a deeper understanding on how all the game goes. Talk about slow release fertilizers. First of all, let's talk about this organic fertilizer. Some people mix the two, slow release and organic fertilizers, as the same thing, but they're totally two different things. And the reason why they say slow release is this is cow manure, for example. This is chicken manure. And these are considered organic fertilizers. So basically what happens with this type of fertilizer is it's feeding the soil. So basically this manure or chicken manure, the poop goes into the soil and it is broken down by the microbes in the lawn. These microbes break these things down into like nitrate and nitrites. So basically anything that's decaying in a lawn, like this cow manure, it's going to be eaten by organisms, and the poop from that organisms comes out as nitrate, and then other organisms eats that poop and it comes out as nitrite, and then those organisms can those minerals can be taken up by the plant. So that process takes time. So when you put out a product like, let's say, malorganite, that's a natural fertilizer. When you put that out, you don't get that quick green up as you do when you put a synthetic fertilizer out, because that process that I just told you about takes time. So on the other hand, when you're using synthetic fertilizers, that's man-made, and those fertilizers, the plant doesn't have to wait for it to be broken down by the organisms in the lawn. The plant can just take it straight up as it is. That's why you can put that fertilizer out there, and the next couple days your grass is just green and booming, and that's a good thing. But it also is a bad thing. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's imagine that this cup is your grass and your lawn, and you're putting in fertilizer. Well, the lawn and the grass is taking up this fertilizer and it's using it to create the chlorophyll and all that. And if you put too much of it, you see what it does? It spills over. That's because you are putting too much nitrogen out there on the lawn, and the grass can't take it all up because it can only hold so much. The soil and can only hold so much, and they actually have a name for this. It's called CEC, which is cation exchange capacity. It's just how much nutrients can the soil hold. And you see all this runoff right here? This runoff is what's happening to your nitrogen when you overload it, and it goes into the streams, or you can see some of it start to evaporate, or it goes up into the atmosphere as greenhouse gases. So that's what happens with the synthetic fertilizer. It goes really, really quick, and it's so quick that the grass don't have enough time to absorb all of it, because it's only a limited amount of space it has for it. So how do we fix that? One of the ways we fix it is spoon feeding. You may have heard of this if you are, depending on how far along in your lawn care journey. Spoon feeding is where you take a little bit of nitrogen fertilizers and you spread it out weekly, just a little bit at a time. This way it keeps you from overloading the lawn with fertilizers, so it doesn't run off. And if you keep that constant stream of fertilizer in the system, you can pretty much maintain a green and healthy lawn throughout the growing season. But that right there adds another problem, and that's because most of us do not apply the fertilizer properly. And to make matters worse, not all fertilizers have the same, this NP and K. These vary per fertilizer bag of fertilizer that you have. So Just because you put a certain amount of pounds for one type doesn't mean it's the same for this next type. So you have to do mathematical equations to figure this all out. In addition to that, that's a lot of work. Who wants to be spreading fertilizer every week to do this spoon feeding thing? So this is where the slow release fertilizer come in. Pay close attention to the different colors that you see on these things here. So what you're actually seeing is regular synthetic nitrogen, synthetic fertilizers mixed in with a coated prill. What you have here is nitrogen, and some of them are coated with different polymers. And now these polymers, they are designed to dissolve over time, you know, up to 3 months from now. Now notice on this bag of fertilizer, notice what it says here, natural fertilizer, but right there where it says base, natural base fertilizer. That doesn't mean that it's organic, and it doesn't really mean that it's natural either. This is synthetic fertilizer that has the polymer coating on half of it, just like I was just telling you, so that it will release later on. Once the polymer coated prills start to dissolve 3 months later, it'll release into the lawn. So that's where the slow release come in. The natural part comes in with the addition of the humic and kelp. And we already know that that's part of my program. So basically what you're getting with that fertilizer is a regular, smegular, synthetic nitrogen fertilizer with a coating on half of it so it would dissolve 3 months or so later. So you need to be aware of when you put this out, because if you put it out in May, 3 months after that, you're in August, and you could be putting out fertilizer during the harshest month of the year, which will be really bad for your grass. So you need to keep those things in mind. And you also are not getting a organic fertilizer. They say it's a natural base only because it adds humic and kelp. And to me, it's misleading and a ripoff.
That was easy.